Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1 Kim Owen. We warmly welcome the family of Sapper Colin McKinlay, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family, visitors to the memorial, and students on behalf of Kelmscott Senior High School visiting from Western Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. If you're able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Sapper Colin McKinlay. Colin McKinlay was born on the 23rd of September 1909, one of 7 children born to Malcolm and Mary McKinlay of Dalby in Western Downs region of Queensland. Known as Collie to his family and friends, McKinlay attended Kunday Creek State School, and after passing Department of Agricultural courses in 1929, worked at the Kunday Creek Cheese Factory. He and his parents ran the Kunday Creek Post Office and Telephone Exchange from their family home. McKinlay conducted the horseback mail run between Kunday Creek and the nearby township of Bell. When his parents retired in 1939, he took over running the family farm. Before enlisting in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force, he spent 11 months gaining military experience with a local militia unit, the 11th Light Horse. Collie was well known for his big smile and for being full of life and fun. He often served as Master of Ceremonies at local dances and social gatherings. He was also a keen sportsman who enjoyed cricket and tennis and was an integral member of local committees for each of those sports. In late 1938, when Colin's sister, Jessie, was married, Colin was best man for Kevin Alderton. One of the bridesmaids at the wedding was Mary McNamara. Colin and Mary were soon engaged to be married. Colin McKinlay enlisted to serve for Australia in the Second World War on the 1st of August 1940. He soon joined the 2nd 11th Field Company, an engineering unit. As well as undertaking regular small arms training, field companies were used to construct defences, roads, bridges, communication lines, observation posts, and buildings, and anything else needed to run a military campaign. After a period of training in southeast Queensland, McKinlay and the 2nd 11th Field Company moved north to Darwin, where they would be based for the next 10 months. The company spent time improving local infrastructure, such as roads, bridges, communication lines, and defences. In a letter home, Collie wrote about being in good spirits, noting the hard work and being keen to get involved in combat. That opportunity came in December 1941, after Japan attacked British and American targets, beginning the war in the Pacific. The 2nd 11th Field Company was split into sections. Headquarters and No. 1 section remained in Darwin. No. 2 section was sent to assist the Allied forces of Timor. And No. 3 section, of which McKinlay was part, was attached to Gulf Force and sent to the Indonesian island of Ambon. Based around the 2nd 21st Battalion, Gulf Force consisted of about 1,100 men. Working alongside 2,600 Dutch troops, it was tasked with defending Ambon's airfields against Japanese attack. McKinlay and the 2nd 11th Field Company spent their first few weeks in Ambon improving water supplies and communications, and mining roads and bridges for destruction in case of invasion. In a letter to headquarters in Darwin, McKinlay's commanding officer reported that the men were hopelessly outnumbered and reported increasingly frequent and intense Japanese bombing raids on the island. On the 24th of January 1942, Gulf Force requested to be able to evacuate Ambon in the face of a likely overwhelming Japanese attack. This request was denied. A week later, the Japanese landed 4 battalions on the island and began attacks on the Allied defenders. The Dutch surrendered on the 1st of February. The remaining Australians surrendered 2 days later. More than 1,000 Australians, including McKinlay, were taken as prisoners of war. Less than 1/3 would survive the war. McKinlay remained in the prison camp on the island, where he faced brutal treatment at the hands of guards, overwork, starvation, and disease. Some prisoners were killed in Allied bombing raids aimed at a Japanese bomb dump located next to the camp. others during Japanese medical experiments on the inmates. McKinlay endured these conditions for more than 4 years. In April 1944, he was hospitalised with beriberi, a painful disease caused by a vitamin deficiency. He remained in hospital for a year before being discharged and was put to work on light duties. He was, however, unable to fully recover. On the 29th of June 1945, weeks before the war's end, he died of beriberi and malnutrition. He was 35 years old. Colin McKinlay's remains were buried at the Tan Tui camp on Ambon, now known as Ambon War Cemetery, where more than 2,000 Allied servicemen of the Second World War lie. For years after his death, his family left letters expressing their sorrow in local newspapers to keep his memory alive. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sapper Colin McKinlay, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If able, please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.